What is up, good people? Welcome into the Full Coverage Football Show, episode number 104, live here on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and YouTube, and we're just everywhere. Watch us anywhere, listen to us anywhere. My name is Jeremy. That's my boy Drew, coming live. Last week, he was on his yacht. This week, he took the yacht all the way to Pebble Beach. He's hanging out. He got out of Florida, got away from the hurricane, took the beautiful yacht around the world, and got back to Pebble Beach just in time for the show. Brother, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. The green screen's making my teeth have like a grill, so that's an interesting element.
I saw you messing with you. Like
I felt like if I touched my teeth, it would stop for some reason. That's not the case, so I'm probably just not going to try to smile as much. But yeah, man, I'm good. I wish I was in Pebble Beach. It was like super cold. It sucked here in Cleveland, but it's good to be back, and I'm excited for another week of football.
Yeah, we can't go wrong with another week of football. And, I was going to start the show by saying cold and rainy Ohio, but how can we complain about the rain we're getting when Florida's floating away? Like, we don't know if there's going to be anything left. They got a Category 5 there in, was it Hurricane Ian? Some of these names, like,
I don't know who makes
scared
up
of
the names.
Ian. Like, if Ian's coming after you, but, like, I'm not scared of Ian. Give these things some scary names. And then maybe people take them more seriously.
Well, you'd have been scared of Ian today. If you were down there, you wouldn't be talking shit on Ian.
No, definitely not. But hey, speaking of Florida, we're going to open the show with a crazy thing. Like, we talked about it, in the offseason, maybe not so much on the show because we took a few weeks off during the offseason. But starting the season, when we started previewing things, we talked about the Jags maybe being that surprise team. And it looks like Duval is rising in the AFC South there with a big victory over the Chargers this weekend, put them 2-1. And that second win now ties Doug Peterson with Urban Meyer for the fifth most victories in Jaguars head coaching history. But the big thing about that victory was, they were facing Justin Herbert, who was hurt, but they were never in that game. The Chargers weren't. Regardless of what Justin Herbert they had, the Jaguars dominated that football game. Duval, is this team rising? Is this a team we really need to look at going forward? Or is this just pump the brakes early on in the season?
I think it's a mixture of both of those, right? Okay. I don't want to get too carried away. Really impressive win. To your point, they kicked their ass, dude. It wasn't even a game. And Jacksonville did a really nice job running the ball. They had over 150 yards on the ground. And listen, Trevor Lawrence had a clean game, and that's what they're going to need to happen for them to continue to win and be in games. He has to have a clean game, but they've looked good so far. And sitting at 2-1, it's definitely surprising. But this also shows us how kind of, and trust me, they went out and they spent a ton of money in the offseason. Mm-hmm. But this kind of shows you get like a real coach to come in after all that happened last year. And you can say whatever you want about Doug Peterson, but he has a Super Bowl. So, they're fun to watch. And I thought Christian Kirk was so massively overpaid, and I still kind of do, but he's been really, really solid so far this year. And they're a fun team to watch.
Yeah, Kirk had 6 catches, 72 yards, another touchdown. He's got 2 on the season now. Trevor Lawrence, you said he was clean, 28 of 39, 262, 3 scores, no interceptions. That was the thing. He took care of the football. But the big thing they're doing is this is everything we talked about what we needed Urban to do with him last year, is take care of the kid. They ran the ball, 17 carries for Robinson for 100, 13 for Etienne. With 30 carries from those backs, you're separating the run and the pass. You're making it even. So that way these guys can actually let your number one pick from last year stay on his feet.
Evan
balancing things out. Evan Ingram got a carry?
Evan Ingram's carry?
No, I did not. Because
0 yards.
Man, how many times we said on this show we ain't even going to talk Evan Ingram anymore?
When he gets a carry, I mean, he got 0 yards, but it had to just been like a ball thrown behind the line.
He did have 1 catch for 9 yards, though. So if you had him in PPR, you got a point out of him. How sad is that? But the other big thing for this team, this is, like we said, this was a straight-up ass-whooping. 38-10. You're up 4 scores late in the game, and somehow they left Herbert in. We'll talk about that in a little bit because I think we need to touch on that a bit. But this defense played really well. Trayvon Walker, the first overall pick, we're like, is this really the guy you want when Hutch is there, when Kayvon Thibodeau's there? But the way they're using him, dropping him in coverage at times, letting him run, they're using him as a jack of all trades, which is what this kid really can be. and he is a freak, and they're actually using him in that manner. So what Doug Peterson has done is exactly what we talked about. Riverboat Ron basically did last year when we said what Washington needed was an adult in the room, and now they're still owned by a man-child and Daniel Snyder for now. Doug Peterson has come into this team and been the man in the room who says, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take care of things. He's the adult. We're taking care of it. Duval, let's see who they got coming up. Just had it on here and went away.
Who's Jacksonville play this week?
Yeah, who's Jacksonville got this week? I didn't even look. They got the Eagles. We talked about that game as one of our possible games of the week. Crazy to think the Eagles and the Jaguars, this could be one of the best games of the week. And then following that, they've got the Texans, the Colts, the Giants, the Broncos who haven't looked good, Raiders who haven't looked good. And up until November 13th, when they have the Chiefs, it's like they don't really play that tough of a team. The Colts we're still not sure about. They beat the Chiefs this week, but that was a mess of a game. And the Colts lost that basically because they didn't have Harrison Butker. Now, Colts, okay, you did what you needed to do to win, but if they have Harrison Butker in that game, they probably lose.
I think Colts backs were against the wall too. They couldn't lose. They couldn't go 0-3 or 1-2 or 1.
They would have been 0-3.
Didn't they tie the first game?
Oh yeah, they would have 0-2-1. But I mean, the Colts last time the Jags played them shut them down 24-0. They took care of them easily.
Right.
So for the Jags right now, if you win this game, or if you at least show that you are for real, this is a real measuring stick game for this team. You got Dougie Peterson going against his former team, headed back into Philly. This is going to be a really interesting game, and it will be a 1 o'clock kickoff, which we will talk about later. But for Jacksonville going forward, I mean, you look at these next few games, Texans, Colts, Giants, all winnable games. Broncos, night before, that's a London game, actually, a 9:30 game, which is always fun when we got 9:30 a.m. football. You got football all day long. And we got it this week, too. But
wait, there's a London game this week?
I think it's London or
is it Germany?
Game. Let me find out here. I have the notes right by my side here.
Oh, dude.
This is London, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Vikings and Saints. This is the first of the London games. We got Cleet Blakeman going to London. 9:30 a.m. kickoff.
Taking the old jet over there to England. You ever been to England? You ever been?
I have not been to Europe ever. You been to Europe? I have no interest in really going over there. Do you?
No, listen, if I'm leaving the country, it's like some badass Caribbean island or something.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
On that. Like times I've been out of the country, I went to Canada.
I don't even know if that counts.
It's like America Plus. Like basically, it's America, and then just take a little up
and
down.
Canada's our top hat. Everybody knows.
I got that.
I love Canadians. They're the best people there are.
There are some good people in Canada. Some great comedy coming out of Canada, in fact, too. But coming up, as we do what we always do on this show, and slowly,
you did a Canadian comedy.
Dude, pretty Letterkenny, great show. Letterkenny, excellent show. Kids in the Hall back in the day, great show. Some of your favorite comedians. Hey, Ryan Reynolds. A lot of people think he's hilarious. Canadian. A lot of good Canadians. But let's go back down south in Florida, where it's rainy, but it's hot. Jacksonville. What do you think the record is at the end of the season before we move on to the next thing here? 2-1 right now.
I can see them having 8 wins.
Okay. That would mean they go 6 and will that be 6 and I can't do math right now. 6-10 the rest of the way.
14 games left.
6 and 10 doesn't work. No, there's hang on. We're 3 games in. There's 17 games. If they win 6, okay, yeah, all right. So you guys can do your own math on that. I'm not a math guy. I'm not going to lie to you. I got a kid who's smart in math and another kid who's smart in math.
I'm not a math guy either, so I'm not throwing answers out either. I'm more putting you on the spot for no reason.
So that'd make them 8 and 9 because 8 plus 9 is 17. So I had to figure it out that way. Wow, that was rough, bud.
We got that.
That's like 6 and 14. How that's 20.
But yeah, listen. I think they can have a nice year. Listen, 8 wins for them is a very nice year. That is a pivot in the right direction.
Yes, it is.
You won 2 games last year.
I can see that.
You're winning 4 times the amount of games you won last year. See?
I was going to say they're a 9-win team. So we're about the same spot.
All right. I love it.
We're about the same spot.
I'm in.
Let's move on to our next topic here. And it's not Canadian comedy or anything like that. It's biggest surprise through 3 weeks of NFL play. Who's your biggest surprise so far?
The Eagles.
Eagles.
And the reason they're my biggest surprise is because Jalen Hurts has just been slicing folks up and down. Like, he's been really, really good. And that, I think, is one of the best teams I've seen. And to my point, if you think about Devontae Smith, he didn't even have a catch in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden on Sunday, he was just the best player on the field all day long. And so he's got weapons that he can use with A.J. Brown. And that's just that defensive front, that defense in general. They're good, man. And I thought that they would be a team that would fight for the division. But if you ask me, if the Cowboys and Eagles met today with or without Dak Prescott, I think the Eagles would be the better team.
Eagles are a better team right now. All around, they're one of the best teams in the NFL, especially with Jalen Hurts playing the way he is. And for my biggest surprise, I wanted to say it was the Dolphins, but I thought the Dolphins would be all right. Maybe winning last week, I didn't expect that. But for me, it's Lamar Jackson. And that may sound crazy because Lamar has been pretty good. He's an MVP. But what he's doing right now, if it wasn't for Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts might be the best player in the NFL. But Lamar Jackson, 10 touchdowns already.
That contract.
Throwing the ball, running the ball like a madman, had a touchdown pass of more than 75 yards, had a touchdown run of more than 75 yards. He's playing like a man possessed.
Yep.
And basically, if this team stays healthy and they can get that defense to do anything, which the defense has been kind of weird for them right now. Basically, the reason they lost one game this year is because the defense let them down in the fourth quarter against those Dolphins.
And they have taken the ball away quite a bit too.
They have.
So it's like, that's why they've been okay. But to your point, in spots, they're going to let them down because I don't think it's that great of a defense.
Listen, and we expect Lamar to be pretty good. But what he's doing right now, he's been unbelievable. And the fact that his accuracy has come along as far as it has, the touch he's putting on passes. Now, against the Jets, he had some bad throws. But still, unbelievable accuracy. And between him and Jalen Hurts, I think that's a two-man run for MVP right now. We'll pump the brakes a little bit. We're less than a quarter of the way through the season.
Right.
But for me, what Lamar Jackson doing is unbelievable.
He's been awesome, dude. He has. And again, he's going to get paid $50 million a year, whether that's with the Ravens or whoever that's with. But
if you had to bet right now,
What's
to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but if you had to bet right now, where is he next year?
Baltimore.
I agree.
You don't just let Lamar Jackson's walk.
No.
You can't just let unicorn players just walk out because of money. You figure it out.
And we've knocked Lamar.
You have to pay your quarterback like that because then it depletes the rest of the roster. But nowadays, these front offices are so damn shifty with stuff.
Wizards.
They'll make money literally appear. And then, it's kick the can down the road type of thing. But again, you might as well go all in.
And the Ravens are a team that, for the most part, have drafted very well. So this is a team that you could give the money to Lamar and they could still be okay because they can draft pretty well. Problem for the Ravens is if they don't have Lamar in this division right now, the way this division is setting up, you're going to have some crazy battles. And Kenny Pickett is a guy who was a first-round pick. If he can turn into a guy who's worth a first-round pick, and you're going to have Burrow, Watson, Lamar, and Kenny Pickett, which is weird to say, adding Kenny Pickett to that, it's going to be one of the best divisions for a really long time. So, yeah, I'm with you on the fact that he has to stay with the Ravens. It's going to be $50 million a year. They're going to have to figure it out. Maybe it ends up being 5 years. $250 million. I don't think I go past that. I don't go the 10-year deal that Mahomes got because they're totally different types of players where we've brought it up and you've mentioned it a million times.
You don't want to sign any NFL player to 10 years. That's a death wish. Only
right now, though.
Ones. I mean, somebody gets hurt, and especially you give a guy that runs the football 10 years.
Exactly why.
And his most dynamic skill is his ability to maneuver and get out of the pocket. Well, over time, he takes hits and hits and hits, and he's not as fast as he once was in 10 years. You can't sign a 10-year contract. Yeah, 5 years, my max I'm in on too.
5 years, $250 million. I think they have to guarantee almost all of it. And you think Cleveland Browns and Deshaun Watson for that. But at the same time, you're looking at these quarterback numbers. Are you going to really say, no, we'll give you $210 million? Is that $40 million worth losing this guy? Because
if tomorrow you sign for $250 million, what would be the first thing that you did? Like in your, like, say you who at your normal job, you're going to your, blue collar guy going to work every day.
Mhm.
You get $250 million. What's the first move? The
I'm getting all
first
two.
move.
I am putting tons of money away for my kids.
Okay.
First thing.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, but you have a lot of it.
I do. I'm also getting a pretty damn fun house with a lot of land where I can do
Yeah.
some stupid redneck stuff.
Would you just uplift your family and move to like uh, this is probably a bad example at the moment, but like Florida and like live right on the water?
No, I would never. Florida's a bad example for me. I hate Florida.
Okay, all right.
Too
Well, you
hot,
get
too
what
many
I'm saying.
damn bugs. But yeah, if I'm
San
moving
Diego.
anywhere, San Diego's gorgeous.
But they'll take
But
all your money
listen,
though in
they
taxes.
will. That's
You're
why
going
if
to
I'm
be
moving
taxed out
anywhere,
the ass.
I already said if I ever move anywhere, I'm moving to South Carolina. I love South Carolina.
So,
Conway, South Carolina is where I'd go. Just right outside of Myrtle Beach. Perfect little city. Got everything you need in it. And just far away from the tourists to keep it kind of nice. I have a big ass house. And I have a stupid ass go kart track where my nephew could run around like crazy. That's 250 million. We're putting a go kart track.
You can build any go kart track.
Exactly. Okay, so what are you doing if you got the 250 mil right away?
I would buy a sick house. I mean, I have a pretty cool house, but like I would buy a ridiculous house, and then the first thing I would do is put a golf simulator in it.
I'm waiting for that part. Yeah,
and it would be like, imagine like the sickest man cave ever, right? Somewhere with 5,000-6,000 square feet man cave. Just have it spread out to where you can do whatever you want. Maybe have a little half court basketball hoop in there.
See, I was thinking with the go kart track, having like a barn out there, we could have the full court. You got the bar area.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking kind of the same way, but yeah,
it's a nice idea.
I dig this.
All right.
You know, the Powerball's like, or Mega Millions, one of those like 710 million.
Dude, it was just like $1 billion. Did you see that?
Insane. I bought tickets and I didn't even check them for a long time.
Me and my dad for like 4 days. We're like, we're gonna get some tickets. And we never ended up getting any tickets.
I only bought tickets because I had to run into Walmart and they got a machine there now where you can just like push two buttons and buy them.
Really? That's nice.
But yeah.
All right.
250 mil would be insane. And you know that 710 mil after taxes with this, you're probably ending up about 250 mil. Now, if you win the lottery, you taking the lump sum or you're doing the 30 years. And we're getting way off track here, but that's what we do. We have fun.
No, for me, I'm probably going to take the lump sum.
Okay.
You're right. We probably don't need to
go. I'm just curious. Why are you taking the lump sum?
Because I'm, 35, waiting 30 years. That puts me at 65. I would rather be able to pay off things and enjoy things in the next 30-year stretch from here to 65 and beyond than to, and not that you couldn't like go do things because you're getting large lump sums, but like I could do all the things that I wanted. And then, you just, when you have that much money, you just put it into an account and it like the amount of money it makes you like, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
There's a rich guy that puts money in his account and he makes like $1.5 million a year, let's say. Mm-hmm. And then here you and I we got to get our asses out of bed. We got to go to work. We got to deal with kids and bills. And then we make like a fraction of this guy. And it's like, it sucks.
Exactly why I take the lump sum. I would live off the interest.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I would, listen, I'm not going to be I wouldn't be one of the stupid people who blow it all and like, I got $20,000 in the lottery. I'm going to buy me a $87,000 trailer right here. Like guys you see on Lottery Dream Home. On HGTV where we're getting way off track again.
Great show.
Phenomenal. But anyway,
so you're right.
What we do. What would Lamar Jackson do, though? That's the question, and we'll find out this offseason. Let's move on to the next thing where I know
millions of dollars.
He does. And he's going to get to do something else.
As cool as like you and I getting 250.
No, not nearly as cool. But if you had that 250 million, would you get a Porsche 911S turbo and then roll it a few times, trying to dodge an animal? That's what Myles Garrett did. Myles Garrett on Monday, I believe it was Monday. Are we on Monday now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Monday, leaving practice with his girlfriend or whoever it was at the time. There is a passenger. We haven't heard exactly who the passenger was. He tried to dodge an animal on a wet road in Ohio, rolled his Porsche, what I'm told between 5 and 10 times, which is crazy. For anyone who's rolled a Porsche, they usually got a pretty good roll cage inside. Most people, you're going to be okay. You're going to walk away from
You've been
that.
in, bro.
I've been in 2 Porsches.
Wow, that's 2 more Porsches than I've been in.
One I got to ride in. One I sat in at a car show, so it's nothing big.
Okay, that's fair. That seems fair.
I would. We won't. We're not going to get into that right now.
Yeah,
That'll be for another show.
We're all off base.
But for Myles, scary minute because these cars are not made for big dudes. Myles is a 6'6", 295-pound dude. Thank God he was healthy. His, whoever was his passenger, they're okay. They walked away with non-life-threatening injuries. Myles Garrett now has a bruised shoulder, a strained bicep as well. And he's healthy. They say he's going to show up to the facility tomorrow. This is now Thursday. The accident was on Monday. Myles Garrett playing this weekend?
No, I don't think so. I mean, listen, the guy just almost died.
Yeah.
And I know he's banged up and dinged up, but like, we don't know to the extent that he's injured, right? Like, there's a difference saying he has a shoulder injury or his shoulder's a little banged up or whatnot. Then, what could really be going on? I don't think he plays this week. I think he has the week off and you go from there because he's the most important chip on the defense, if not, one of on the entire team. He has to be there and he has to be ready to go. If we're willing to take 1 week against who you play, the Falcons or something?
Falcons.
Yeah. So if we have to do that 1 week, then so be it, right? And again, you saw Baker play her all last year. Not that Baker was the best player on the team, but you just can't just let it slide for a week and go from there. And I think that's what they'll do.
100% with you. But for Browns fans who are like, oh, well, it's only the Falcons, you're going to get to see how important Myles Garrett really is to this defense. And for all the people who watched last week and said Myles Garrett made no impact on that game, statistically, no.
Aren't they down Clowney as well?
Clowney could play this week. We will find out probably closer to game time. You need someone because that defensive line has been the worst part of that football team. We knew that coming in. Going forward, it's not getting any better. You're going to have to do something to work on it. But this week, you're facing a quarterback who can move. And being beat up and having to run around and you're going to get chipped, you're going to get beat up, you're going to have 3 guys on you. I think you have to let Myles Garrett sit. Now, this game is important because the difference between 2-2 and 3-1 is massive, especially for a team led by Jacoby Brissett, who's been phenomenal so far this season, which all credit to Jacoby, how good he's really been. But you cannot look short term when you really got to look down the stretch here with Myles Garrett.
Yep, I agree. Of course, they want to rush him back, but they can't. You know what I mean?
If he shows up to the facility tomorrow and he's like, "Man, I feel great," and he goes through anything, and you can beat him up a little bit, and he's not feeling pain. Credit Porsche, credit doctors.
I'm playing him then.
Yeah, let him.
I just think he's got to be not feeling great.
Yeah, I mean, plus he's got a flight. You got to get on the flight. Blood's different in the air, depending on how everything is. We'll find out. But I think the best thing to do probably is sit him. Let's move on to our next topic here. Would you rather, Trevor Lawrence edition? Drew, I'm going to name some quarterbacks.
Yes.
You're going to tell me if you'd rather have them or you would rather have Trevor Lawrence. Quarterback number 1, Deshaun Watson.
I'd rather have Deshaun Watson.
Okay. Tua Tagovailoa.
I'll say Tua, but that one's hard.
Okay.
It really is. And I don't think he's that great, but I don't know if Tua's that awesome either. Like, I think Tua's
been really good this year, but
he's been fine. Yeah, he's been good. But like, we'll see. I feel bad for Tua. For the last 3 years, it's always been as Tua or Deshaun Watson, or who are we trading? Are we trading for this guy? Like, Tua have been like, he's constantly had rumors of him being traded behind him, his entire career, it seemed like.
Tua or Russell Wilson for the next 3 years. Or sorry, Trevor Lawrence or Russell Wilson for the next 3 years.
Russell Wilson.
Trevor Lawrence or Joe Burrow for the next 5 years.
Joe Burrow.
I'm with you on that. Now, this was a huge thing on social media, and I believe ESPN started it. Joe Burrow has proven for more than 2 games what he can really do. Now, Trevor Lawrence was very good last week, but it was only the second time in all of his starts so far that he threw for 3 touchdowns. The first time being his first career start.
Wasn't Joe Burrow in a Super Bowl?
Pretty sure he was, with a terrible offensive line and sketchy head coach.
I thought I forgot. Maybe I don't know when that was, but yeah.
Trevor Lawrence or Dak Prescott?
Give me Trevor Lawrence, dude.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, even when Dak was playing, he looked like shit. I think Mike McCarthy stinks, by the way.
Hey, he's getting the most out of Cooper Rush.
Whatever. But
Cooper Rush is managing the game excellently. But let's not get out of ourselves.
Going for a 215 yards game, and that's what that's what he needs to do right now.
He's doing his job.
Right. Yeah. And listen, you win 2 games with your backup and just basically holding it for Dak to get back. That's great. But no, listen, I like Trevor Lawrence's upside. I know it's been a rough beginning to it. We also have to think this is a dog shit roster.
Mm-hmm.
And it, last year was especially. So now they got a little bit of, weapons. So yeah, I'll take Trevor Lawrence. And a long-winded response.
Trevor Lawrence or Trey Lance?
Trevor Lawrence.
I thought that wouldn't be easy for you. Trevor Lawrence or Mac Jones?
Trevor Lawrence.
Okay. I think that's about all the guys who really fit around there.
Those were good ones.
I'm not going to throw in Josh Allen. I think he's obviously top. Pat, top. Aaron Rodgers, obviously older. We're not going to go any further than that.
Next 2 years, Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff.
Next 2 years, Trevor Lawrence. Next 2 games, Trevor Lawrence.
Fuck
and that's hard. I was so. The funny thing is, I've been so high on Jared Goff since it came out. And I was the guy who, he's better than Jimmy G. We went on those battles back and forth. And I'm like, Goff, he's got a chance to show who he really is. And he's shown who he really is.
Dude.
He has been good. But is this guy, do you feel like his contract's up at the end of this year, right?
Yeah. He'll be back.
Do you want them to sign him to a big money deal, or do you want them to find another quarterback?
Oh, no. So his contract is not up after this year.
Okay, or it's 2 years. I know it's
actually the Lions have options for next year and the year following.
Okay,
at $21 million and $20 million,
which is a bargain.
A bargain. So yes, because I think if he's decent, and he's been decent, he's got almost 800 yards and 7 touchdowns. For that price, like, again, you don't get top flight quarterbacks. You basically, that's like not the rookie pay, but like a step above. Yeah. And so if you can roll with that, then by all means do it, because Jared Goff's showing that he's been okay. But listen, if this team sucks and they're really bad, which I don't expect them to be, then at that point, yeah, you might have to be looking a different direction at the end of the year.
Do you think that Goff, and we're going off our normal topics here, but it doesn't matter. This is our show. We do what we want.
We talked about winning millions of dollars, TV shows and stuff.
Canadian comedy. Now we're back. We're on football with this topic here. But Jared Goff, do you think that, let's say they have a chance, let's say a team with a quarterback already. Let's say the Niners just suck for the rest of the year and they've got Trey Lance and they spent 3 first rounders to get him. And they say, you know what? Let's recoup some of those. We don't want the first overall pick. And CJ Stroud's sitting there, and we're going to talk college football next. So you know what? This is just a fantastic segue into it. Let's talk college football, where CJ Stroud, right now, for my money, I believe CJ Stroud is not only the Heisman front runner, but I think CJ Stroud is the best quarterback coming out in this draft next year. The most accurate quarterback, one of the most accurate quarterbacks I've ever seen at the college level. So if you are the Lions and the Niners have the first pick and they offer you that first pick where you can move up for CJ Stroud, do you hold on to those picks and keep building around what you have, or do you trade those picks to move up for CJ Stroud, knowing you have Jared Goff for the next 2 seasons? If you're running the Lions.
Yeah, you move up.
Okay.
And the other thing that you got to understand too is they're going to have 2 first-round picks already going into it, because they're going to have the Rams pick. Yeah. So, I mean, but again, reasonably, the price tag to move up to 1 hopefully is going to be ridiculously high, because I hope they're not picking in the top 10. But yeah, I mean, if you can go, and if the Lions like him, yeah, you got to go take a swing at the quarterback. But because like right now, if your team's just mediocre, it's hard to get that guy in the purgatory level of the draft, right? The quarterback of that caliber is not going to slip, and then you got to get lucky on one. And I hate wasting draft picks just to first rounds, especially just to grab a quarterback and hope that you can turn it around for him. Like that's not a good game plan strategy wise from a front office.
No, but what CJ Stroud did against Wisconsin Saturday night, what he's done in his career so far at Ohio State, I don't think there's a quarterback. And I like Bryce Young a lot. I think Bryce Young can be a solid NFL player. But for my money, CJ Stroud is one of the best quarterback prospects to come out. I think he's possibly better than Trevor Lawrence coming out. That's how good CJ Stroud has been. And I think he's a quarterback who should draw a lot of interest. Now, as far as what's that? Bo Nix? Did you say Bo Nix? Is Bo Nix draft eligible at the age of 29 now? I feel like he's been in the.
Even if he was, nobody wants his ass.
Bo Nix is going to be he's going to be the next Kirk Cousins. 4th round pick who does things. And if someone takes Bo Nix in the 4th round, we got bigger issues. But let's talk some college football. It was an interesting college football weekend. We had a few good games, some really tight games, some really odd games. Now, one game I remember I watched this weekend was the Mizzou-Auburn game. Did you catch the end of that football game?
I did. I didn't catch it live, but I saw what happened.
So you're in overtime, and Mizzou's got a chance to win it. Their running back, Nathaniel Pete, fumbles at the goal line while switching hands in the first overtime, which gives the ball to Auburn. Auburn gets a victory, 17-14. Really heartbreaking for Pete, who played a really hell of a game to keep his team in it. But more so, the reason I want to ask you about Auburn is there's a lot of talk about Auburn. They're going to be looking for a new head coach. They haven't been happy with what they've gotten. They need to turn that program around. They're in a tough division, the SEC, or tough conference. And the name that's been floating around, prime time, Deion Sanders, as possibly the new head coach of Auburn, War Eagle. What do you think about prime time going to Auburn?
It's well, first of all, it's a big jump, right?
It is.
It's a large jump. I guess I always imagined him being at Florida State.
Yeah.
But right now that doesn't seem to be feasible. Excuse me. And so for him to be able to jump into the SEC with an opportunity like that, he has to listen. But again, like it's hard for him because he's built up some players, and then just to kind of leave in the middle of the night. His son plays there. He's the quarterback, right? Like now you talk about transfer portals. Does everybody just transfer to play with Deion? How does that go with Auburn, which Auburn's got their own players and there's just, I guess there's a lot to it. But man, if you can go from Jackson State to Auburn, that's a hell of a jump. And I think it would be great for college football because Deion's fantastic.
He is. And I mean, we talked about it when he was possibly at Florida State. We're like, really? Is this a real thing? Are they messing with us about this?
Jackson State's good.
Yeah. And he has done an amazing job at Jackson State. So, throw the pie in my face. I was wrong about what Prime would be as a head coach, possibly. But maybe he needed that Jackson State, obviously, as that stepping stone to the next job. And you're right. Florida State looks like they're going to be okay. They're not going to fire anyone yet. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. But if he gets this job, what are you expecting out of Auburn over the next 3 seasons? Are we talking they can win the SEC, or is Prime, the name alone, the swag that he brings around, enough to recruit at a level that can possibly top what Nick Saban's doing? And like I texted you earlier, a lot easier facing Nick Saban in, the Aflac commercial than it is in the SEC.
Right. I think it kind of is. I think Deion's name, I mean, look at the recruits he's got to Jackson State.
Mm-hmm.
He still recruits from Alabama, and that's at Jackson State. So you're trying to persuade kids to come to this school that they are definitely a player that could go to the high caliber Division I schools, but here they are. They say, hey, I want to go to Jackson State. So if he can get those guys at Jackson State, I think the name is a lot, and I think kids resonate rather with Deion, and he seems fun and kind of crazy. But I don't know if they're winning the SEC though. But I'll tell you what, they'll be entertaining as hell.
It will be entertaining to see, and you know what? I'm all here for it. Let's go for it. It's college football, so I got to ask you: is Texas back?
They're not back. They're not back.
Bijan Robinson fumbling the ball in overtime, another fumble, and now that kid's walking around campus for the past, 5 days, carrying a football with him everywhere he goes. promising to never fumble again.
That's a tradition that I love. Keep that around forever, America.
Let's go with it.
Don't fumble.
Anything else college football wise you want to hit on before we move on?
It just feels like we haven't warmed up yet. Like we're starting to get into some. I know Michigan plays Iowa this week. We're starting to get into some division games that matter, some conference games rather that matter. And so it's about time the college football kind of turns up a little bit. A lot of cupcake games to start the thing, but it's starting. I think this is going to be a good weekend, and then moving forward, we're in for a treat.
Before we move on, I do want to mention that there was a guy on this show who mentioned a few times that Miami really wasn't that good, and Miami still a top 25 team. Coaches kept putting them in there.
Tennessee State.
Middle Tennessee, a 25-point dog, beats them by, what was the final score? Like 37-24?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But, Drew, you definitely hit on that. Miami, absolute trash. But from one Miami to another Miami, that is our segue. The game of the week this week. We got a lot of really good games this week. We got Kansas City, Tampa Bay on Sunday Night Football. Hopefully that game is solid, and it looks like it's going to be played in Minneapolis at the Metrodome, allegedly, which will be fun. We haven't seen the Metrodome in a long time. But game of the week. What's that?
You played at the Metrodome?
That's what I heard.
Like the old school?
Yeah, the old school.
Wow. Okay.
We're talking like where Kirby Puckett used to hit home runs into the baggy wall.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. If that really is, I mean, I read it. I'm not sure where I read it or who I read it from. So hopefully that is in some way correct. But yeah, moving on. Dolphins 3-0 at the Bengals 1-2. This is our Thursday night game. So this is, I think, the third out of 4 weeks where our number one game has been the Thursday night football game. They're like, okay, we're going to stop this division.
It does drop off, folks. It gets ugly.
Now this game, Bengals finally got on the win column. Good for them. Joe Burrow still getting his ass kicked. Tua, speaking of getting your ass kicked, Tua last week got smashed in the ground by Matt Milano. Gets back up, kinda. Stumbles, gets back up, kinda. Stumbles again, makes his way to the locker room. Almost, I think there was, 15 seconds left in the first half or something? Not a lot of time left in the first half. So they're thinking, okay, we're going to come on in the second half. Tua's not going to be back. Concussion protocols. He passes those, allegedly. And it's a back problem. But Tua's back is supposedly still flaring up. Tua, he's going to play in this game. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that he's going to play. Tua this year is 72, 101, 825, 8 touchdowns, 2 picks. He's been really good. Chase Edmonds, their running game hasn't got going. But it's a passing game for them. If Tua does not play, and this is Teddy Bridgewater, let's say it happens. If he gets knocked out, do the Dolphins have any chance of winning this football game?
No. I like Teddy Bridgewater. I think the Bengals win this game with Tua.
You think they win it with Tua? Now, this is a game that you saw what that pass rush could do. What they did to Josh Allen. They threw Josh Allen off. He was thrown early, throwing balls into the ground. You don't think that's going to affect them, considering they can't block me or you coming around edge, and they got rid of Bobby Hart?
No. Listen, the Bengals can play defense too. And as much as I love Mike McDaniel, this is the first short week. We'll see what happens with the Dolphins. And yeah, if Tua's banged up, that's not great, even if he plays. They've been really, really fun and really good. But again, they're not going to go 17-0. And I think the Bengals have underachieved, and Joe Burrow has been extremely sloppy with the football. And it was way better last week. And I think it continues this week.
It was. And last week was the first time we kind of saw the Cheetah shut down, but they still managed to do something on offense. The run game they didn't get a lot of yards, but they got in the end zone. That's the difference between this team and, let's say, a Denver Broncos, is this team is finding ways to score in the red zone, always getting in. But for me, it's his defense, man. You see what Javon Holland's done. Xavier Howard's been basically an island of his own. Even, Melvin Ingram, who I thought Melvin Ingram was headed on the downside of his career. He's had a pretty good season thus far.
Yes.
He's got 4.5 sacks in 8 Thursday games. I think he can get another one in this game, and I like the Finns in this game, but I think it's going to be a really good game. I'm thinking, 24-23, and the last time these two guys played in college, that was like a 9-touchdown football game. It was a lot of fun. I'm not expecting that. I'm thinking mid-20s. What's your final score guess?
I would say 31-24.
31-24. So we're going to get to see some points, unlike what we saw last week on the Monday Night Football game, which was barely points, and especially on the Sunday Night Football game, which was a punt fest. And as we talk about the punt fest,
I
what did
fell
you think
asleep
about
before kickoff of the Sunday night game. When I woke up and checked the score, I was like, "Oh, what a move!
11-10?"
Yeah, I'm like, "Wow, what a great thing for me to do is to go to bed that night."
And what did you think about old Eli Manning / Chad Powers saying that they should have given the $235 million to the punter instead of Russell Wilson?
Hilarious. I saw Russ responded to it today, which is funny too,
saying he was 3-0 against Chad Powers.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, the Manning thing's fun, and I enjoy it. Just I can't stay awake for these fourth quarters, man. I'm just falling asleep
until Tracy Morgan's on in the third quarter of a game. Tracy Morgan.
I didn't even see Tracy Morgan.
Man, Tracy Morgan was hard to watch because he would just start yelling. He just yelled over top of them. And he asked Peyton what it was like to play against Lawrence Taylor.
I did see a clip of that, actually.
What the hell are you talking about, Tracy? How hard that Walmart truck hit your ass?
So for me, though, it's just like, why can't they figure out the lag? The lag makes so many awkward moments.
They got Spectrum Internet, bud.
Like, this is the Manning show. Like, how is there that much of a lag where like everybody talks over each other? It's still great, though.
It is. And I get it. There's going to be some delay, and they got to do it now. They probably added more delay to it after they were dropping F-bombs and double birds from Eli. But, man,
Marshawn Lynch just swearing.
Pat McAfee, by the way, phenomenal in everything he does right now. Pat McAfee just winning life. Mm-hmm. And spending $150,000 on his suite in Lucas Oil Stadium. Give the guy a break. He's a legend for that squad. One of the only punters anyone even knows.
He's actually friends with Jim Irsay, too.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that's not like a thing already.
I mean, he's making money hand over fist right now. So he's doing good. The $30 million with FanDuel, he's making $2 million allegedly with the WWE. Now he's on College Game Day. Like, he's all over the place.
But he's the juice to all of it.
Yeah.
He goes on College Game Day. Who's the juice? McAfee. He does a great show. He gets ridiculous guests on the Pat McAfee show. I don't know anything about the wrestling because I don't really watch wrestling. But, the guy's printing the FanDuel. I mean, he's at the peak. Like, when you talk about, Stephen A's, Skip Bayless is just like, no, Pat McAfee's up here.
Yep.
You guys are actually down here. And
it's because he's entertaining, but he's real.
Yeah.
We're not dealing this is something we like about our shows. We're trying to entertain and we're trying to talk football, but we're trying to stay real with it. We're not throwing out the hot takes. I don't give a shit about hot takes, and I know you don't either. And that's what everything had been for so long, and that's why Pat McAfee's such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Nobody wants to hear Skip Bayless talk about LeBron every day.
Mm-hmm.
Or Tom Brady every day. It's just like a redundant and then they're like the fact these debate shows, they take these angles where it's like, hey, you're going to take this angle and you're going to take this angle. I don't care if you really feel that way. And then it's just like, it's awful. It's terrible.
And that's the whole reason I wanted to do.
It's run out its time. I think it was awesome for 10 years. And I think that's when the cold pizza and when Stephen A. and Skip, that was the thing back then because everybody liked this debate. And then everybody's like, these people are saying Steph Curry isn't as good as Nate Robinson all time. You know what I mean? It's and then they're arguing about that. And it's like, what the hell is going on?
That's exactly it. The fact you're trying to just get views and clip watches on social media or any kind of clout by saying the most outlandish bullshit. And that's why I want to do the Would You Rather with Trevor Lawrence. Because all week, I've seen, Trevor Lawrence, I'd rather have him than Joe Burrow. Look at what he's got around him. Look what Joe Burrow. You can't talk about Joe Burrow's supporting cast outside of that offensive line and say that Trevor Lawrence has anything better over the next 5 years. I'd rather have him. He's clearly better. Look at how he outplayed Justin Herbert.
Your boy Skip Bayless was saying that Cooper Rush is better than Dak.
I mean,
it's just things. It's that's not real. That's not a take. That's just spewing hot bullshit out of your mouth. You can't just you have to at that point it loses me as a viewer. It's when you say ridiculous things that nobody believes, It's like now you're just toying with me and making millions of dollars a year. Like this is a relevant show to listen to.
100%. And it's like us coming. We talked about Jacoby Brissett earlier in the show. It's like us saying Jacoby Brissett. We said he's been fantastic so far this season. He's managing that offense, doing a really good job. But it's like us saying we know right now that come week 13 at Houston, that Jacoby Brissett deserves to start over Deshaun Watson because he's a better quarterback. No, he's a better person. That's it. And I'm not going to come on this and say that he's a better quarterback because he's managing the team. He's doing what a lot of quarterbacks should do and running that offense the way it needs to be run.
You
But
can
we're not
win
going to
with a
sit here.
mediocre quarterback.
You can, as long as they're running the offense the way it's meant to be, and they're doing that. And we're not going to come on here and be like, he clearly deserves to be the guy who gets the $230 million fully guaranteed contract. We're not going to do that bullshit. Let's pick some games, bud.
Okay, let's do that.
Game picks. We're 31-25 on the year.
That's okay. I mean, it's not very good with because we're picking with no spreads, but
yeah.
Listen, we have 14 weeks left. So everybody relax.
This is our preseason. I mean,
yeah, we get 4 weeks. That's it.
It's also
a problem. That's fine, but
we're in the NFL and we got 3 weeks in. There's only 2 undefeated teams left: the Finns and the Eagles. And if you would have told me those were the final 2 undefeated squads in week 1,
yeah,
I would have taken that
bet. That's why, like, one of my least favorite things is when people play the schedule game. Mm-hmm. Let's go, we'll beat this person, we'll lose this, we're going to win this one, It's like, you don't know what the hell is going to happen.
Nope.
Like DeAndre Swift, my Lions, the whole team's hurt. So it's like, oh yeah, the Lions are going to be good. They showed us something. Well, next week they're all dead. So what the hell am I supposed to do with this? Like, you can't do the game. All your players get hurt. Oh, well, we're going to win. Oh, Patrick Mahomes dies. Oh, you're still going to win 14 games? Your stupid-ass schedule game.
You had Myles Garrett flipping his Porsche 5 to 10 times?
Yeah. Was that on the bingo card?
You had Joey Bosa tearing his groin and having surgery and missing a whole bunch of games.
Injuries are so dumb.
After Justin Herbert was kept in the game, down 28,
I think
with 5 minutes to go.
They should figure out a way for nobody to get hurt. I just need I need 52 bionic people that I can draft in fantasy that I know are not going to die out there. That's what I need.
Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is that dude because he's built. Him and Deebo Samuel, they're built like dudes who just aren't going to get hurt, even though Deebo got hurt this week. Anyway, let's get back to picking some games before we get back to other shit.
There.
I said it, and I'm like, I might have been wrong on that.
Even though the guy that I'm saying got hurt. All right. Yeah, that was great, man.
Hey, I only remembered because I stayed up to watch that fucking game, which was a waste of my...
Real good point you made.
And hang on. While we're talking that game, it was a terrible 11-10 game. Chris Collinsworth, I know everyone's your boy, and here's a guy. We all know that. But for you to say Russell Wilson is doing all the things he did in Seattle because he had one good drive, let's see what they do this week. Minnesota Vikings 2-1 traveled to London to face the New Orleans Saints. Saints wearing all black helmets for this one. Kamara hasn't been very good. Jameis is all hell. Kirk Cousins been pretty kirky. This game, I don't even know where to go on this, so you get the first pick.
Yeah, I'll take the Vikings.
You feel good about that pick?
No, I don't feel good about it. But dude, Justin Jefferson got shut down by Jeff Okudah. 2 catches, 9 yards. He got shut down the week before by Darius Slay. He goes into Marshawn Lattimore. Justin Jefferson has to get it going this week. Right? They have to get Justin Jefferson going. I think that Jameis will turn the ball over 2 or 3 times, 2 picks, 1 fumble, and I think the Vikings win. I'd want the Saints to win with every.
Kirk Cousins needs to get the damn Rick Wild Thing Vaughn glasses to see who's on his actual team. Because I swear to God, he thought Darius Slay was playing for the Vikings when they played them.
I wish he'd done that with us.
What happened? How did KJ Osborne get that wide open?
Let me ask you about the week before. How did what's my man running out there? Who was that? Up the sideline for the Jets. How the fuck did he get that wide open? All right.
Corey Davis?
Corey Davis. It's like we live life to be upset and depressed.
Yeah. I didn't know if you all I saw was him catch the ball. I didn't actually get to see the actual play. I didn't know if you saw the actual play, who blue coverage, or what happened.
Yeah. It was just a safety breakdown. It was embarrassing.
Okay.
Somebody fell down.
You didn't have to go and stab me in the heart on that one, bud.
No,
Remind me of the
no, I'm
fucking Jets
sorry.
game.
I thought you were coming after me.
I was not.
And I understand if you were, but it's like, yeah, somebody falls down on the biggest play of the game. That's fun. That's
When
good
I
stuff.
saw KJ Osborne score that, I had turned my head and I turned my head back on red zone. I went, Drew's thought KJ Osborne was having a good year, and this fucking sucks. That's exactly where I went. I'm like, oh, KJ. Oh, man, not at this time, KJ. But
It
you know
was
what?
just like, it's so, just to vent about that game for a second.
Hit it.
Dan Campbell goes for it, I think 5 times on 4th down,
Brandon
which
Staley
I'm like,
style.
love it. Riverboat Gambler. Like, if you're over the 50, run it if that's how you feel. Austin Seibert gets dinged up. 4th and 1, you need a first down to ice the game. You bring out a hurt kicker from like 50 yards.
54, wasn't it?
Yeah. So you've gone for it all day on 4th down, but when you have the ability to ice the game, all you're doing with the field goal or with a field goal is going up 6, not 3. That to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You go for it, and if you miss it, then you force their kicker to make a field goal who's been shaky all day long. So it was weird. And then they kept under 4 minutes. The Lions just kept calling the play, snapping the ball with more than 15 seconds left. It's like, boys, we're up 10. Relax. What are we doing here? Those things cost them the game. The 4th down, it's like, and I love Dan Campbell, but if you're going to be Mr. Go for it all game long, step on their throat when you have the chance. Nobody would have faulted you for doing that. Yeah, nobody would have faulted you if you went for 4th and you didn't get it. But you had the ability to get 1 yard behind one of the top 5 offensive lines, and you've been able to run the football at will against anybody. You don't try to get 1 yard and the game's over. They lose all their timeouts. It's essentially over. But you decide to kick it with an injured kicker. It's just like, what? Tell me what were we thinking here? I need an explanation because that and he said he was wrong for doing it, but it's like you kind of can't make those mistakes, dude. That's the reason you lose close games or you win close games. There's head coaches in this league, Andy Reid's and Bill Belichick's, and these guys. It's literally a weapon for them. They can use. I mean, I remember Bill Belichick taking a delay a game on a punt, and there's some rule where the clock runs or some shit. It's like these guys are playing chess. You have to be able to figure out how to do things the right way, and one of those things is clock management, and it's undervalued in the eyes of people that watch football. But like, you screw games up like that. You screw games up the last 2 minutes of the first half, the last 2 minutes of the second half. That's when you screw games up. And so for me, it was like, damn, that would have been a big road win against a divisional opponent. And it was your game. You were up 7 or you're up 14 at a time. Then you were up 10 again in the second half, and you couldn't close the door. It was unfortunate.
Play your brand of football. And stick to it.
If you're going to go for it 5 times, go for it for the last time. It's a 1 yard. Like, you've done this the whole time from that exact spot in the field, and then you would throw out an injured kicker.
This show is also for therapy, by the way, for both of us.
Jesus. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't. And in the game of former shitty Browns kickers, unfortunately, you had the shittier of the two that week. And the only reason you have Austin Seibert on your team is because you have John Dorsey there, who liked the way the ball sounded off of his foot. That's why he drafted him, and that's why he's in Detroit.
To air audio is incredible with that guy.
It is. It's insane. One of the greatest sounds you'll ever hear. And he actually cut him for Chase McLaughlin, who was kicking this week for another team. And yeah, it was like Browns kickers everywhere, which is shitty. Speaking of the Cleveland Browns 2-1. They are a 1:00 Sunday game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where Chick-fil-A will be closed. At the Atlanta Falcons, 1-2. Who you got in this one?
I will roll with Cleveland. I don't love it either.
Browns fans.
Marcus Mariota may give them some issues.
All the people who hated on Myles Garrett last week for not making an impact in that game in the stat book. Watch the game again and see how 3 guys had to stop him more than probably 70% of his snaps. Guy isn't always going to make an impact in the stats. But what he does is he makes things a lot easier for the rest of your defense. Without him, you're going to struggle. It's going to be a tight game. You got to lean on the running game, and I hope it happens. 2017, give me the Browns, but I do not feel good about it.
I think Mario. So again, like with a running quarterback like that, and I don't think you face one yet this year.
You're telling me Joe Flacco's not a mobile quarterback?
No, I'm just thinking of the first three. You haven't played anybody with any ounce of mobility, actually. So this is gonna be a challenge for the linebackers, man. And
Baker ran for a touchdown against us, but they literally didn't care. They left the middle of the field absolutely wide open.
So I think I think Marcus Mariota give you fits. I know Jalen Hurts, like again with the lines opened up with Philadelphia, there's nothing you can really like simulate in practice.
Mm-hmm.
So like what you're gonna get. And so it could be an issue. That's all I'll say. But I'm going to take the Browns just because I'm hanging out with Browns fans Sunday, clam bake. Just, I don't want everybody to be miserable.
Man.
Don't live the life I do, guys.
When shit happens, run. Because Browns fans with clamshells nearby, someone's getting hurt.
I was so happy I was by myself when you guys blew that 14-point lead with like 6 seconds left, because like I was like I don't want to. They're like used to like being like I was with them when Justin Tucker made like the 64-yarder to beat us, and they were like, Drew, I'm sorry, and I'm like, guys, I'm numb to this now. Like I'm numb to this.
I thought I was numb to this shit until they did that.
Yeah,
and my kid's like, Dad, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm fine, just leave me alone right now.
So it's like, yeah, I mean, it makes you mad for a minute, but I don't even know how I got there. But yeah, give me the
Buffalo Bills 2-1 traveling to Baltimore. Now, this was a possibility for game of the week, but we stuck with the Thursday night game. This is probably number 2. Bills at Ravens. This is going to be a good one. 1 o'clock kickoff at M&T Bank Stadium. Who you got?
I'll take the Bills.
I hope the Bills win, and I want to take the Bills. I think they got to bounce back. Bills could be 2-2. One of these teams is going to be 2-2 after this game.
Yeah,
and you're going to have.
Bills were bad. I mean, they didn't. Ken Dorsey with a lovely, complete meltdown in the box.
Hey, that's who that dude is. For all the people who are really hating on him, let him go.
Yeah, dude. That's I heard Josh Allen say today that he like everybody loves it.
Yeah, the offense blew that game.
Yeah, they did.
Simple as that. Josh Allen, you guys got to get. He fumbled that ball at half or right before half.
Run the ball.
Exactly. They need to run the football.
He's just being put in a position where he has to be everything.
42. He had 42 completions last week on 63 attempts. Dude's already thrown the football in 3 games 132 times.
Dude, James Cook has to be better than like I know
Zach Moss
Zach Moss can't do anything.
He had like a 42-yard run, but still finished with I think 40 yards on 6 carries.
It's Singletary's not good. Like they need. I think they could be a team that would benefit making move, but maybe it's just the way that the offensive line blocks. Right? Maybe they're just a very adaptive team to blocking for the pass, and the run's a different thing. But listen, this team's they can't just put this all on Josh Allen. No. They've got to figure out a way to run the football.
They do, and I don't know if they do figure it out. I think this is going to be a tight game. I'm going to take the Bills in a close one, and I don't feel good about this pick either.
I haven't felt good about any of them, so.
And that's another reason why I thought they should have traded for Kareem Hunt in the offseason. Devin Singletary, great third down back, hadn't proven to be anything else. Washington Commanders 1-2 at the Dallas Cowboys, now 2-1 behind good old Cooper Rush. Does Wentz bounce back?
No.
Cowboys?
Their issues offensively stem from getting out to really slow starts.
Mm-hmm.
They did the same, and you kind of get that when you watch a whole game with your team against somebody, and you're like, okay, they did this, and then you kind of pay attention to it. They got out to a slow start last week. They weren't able to get Terry McLaurin involved. They got to be better. And for me, Dallas is at home, coming off 2 wins. I think that their ability to rush the football on the 32 carries between Pollard and Zeke. If they're able to do that, then they're going to be able to continue to win ball games just because, again, to your point, play action, easy passes. Cooper Rush doesn't have to do too much. And so I'll take Dallas.
I will also take Dallas, and Dallas needs to learn that this is how you need to run this offense. You need to start it with the run. You need to use the Thunder and Lightning and
Start with
Zeke and
run,
Pollard.
end with run, middle
Yep.
run.
And let Dak
Just
manage
run.
just like Cooper Rush has done, except Dak will make better plays. Now, who's the Dallas Cowboys leading receiver?
Right now,
Mm-hmm.
Noah Brown.
Noah Brown, 15 catches for 273 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Crazy to think Noah Brown is the number one receiver on that team
It's
statistically.
is this you again trying to like spout off your CD Lamb hate?
CeeDee Lamb
That's exactly what this was. Yeah. You just wanted
he had a great
hate on
touchdown
CeeDee
catch.
Lamb.
And credit to him, that was a hell of a catch. But CeeDee Lamb, once again, could have put that game away earlier if he just caught a wide open pass over the middle on a deep slant where there wasn't a guy within 10 yards. But yeah, CeeDee Lamb, you still need to step up, buddy. I'm still taking the Cowboys. And I hope CeeDee Lamb steps up so I can stop having this conversation.
No, you don't.
No, I really do. I'm not going to root against the kid. I'm going to root for him. But step up, kid. Seattle Seahawks 1-2, led by Geno Smith, travel to Ford Field to face the Detroit Lions, also 1-2. Who you got?
Lions banged up. Potentially no Amon-Ra, potentially no DeAndre Swift. Secondary's banged up, but I still think the Lions had it's a must win for the Lions. They got to get it done. And I think they're still going to have the ability with Jamal Williams and Netflix Craig Reynolds to run it a little bit. They don't have the DeAndre Swift breakaway, right? We know that. But I think the Lions win this week.
I don't think you need it
against this team. They covered last week, by the way.
Yeah. I don't think you need it against this team. I think you need to just grit and beat this team up. Need to beat them up.
I agree.
And I think they do it. I will take the Lions in this one because I'm still listen, Gino, you're gonna have to write back eventually.
Good teams win, great teams cover. Lions blow everything and ruin my Sunday butt cover. They're like, we don't want you to hurt too much.
We're gonna help you out, baby.
We're gonna allow you to win a bet. No, thanks, guys.
Man, I hope they get that dub for you. I don't want to see them lose to the Seahawks.
If they lose to the Seahawks, the shit hits the fan 4 weeks in.
Yeah,
it's not great.
Good. I mean, 1-3, and you got all the injuries. Tough injuries, too. I mean, losing Walker for the season, he's played pretty well. DeAndre, obviously one of the most dynamic running backs in the league. But Jamal Williams did have 20 carries last week, did have one too many pumps.
That was bullshit, by the way.
I agree, but I walked away and I had to text you. I'm like, did he have too many pumps?
Yeah, that was sure like enough, they called. I'm like, dude, that's
a skit.
That's a skit. That's not like a thing, is it? Like I didn't know it was like a real rule.
Apparently, it is. Los Angeles Chargers 1-2 at Houston Texans 0-2-1. Does Lovey get his first win at home?
No. I think the Chargers win this game. I expect Herbert to play. I know he wasn't very good last week, but this is a game the Chargers have to have, and I think that you can't lose a game to the Texans and get this division done. So they're gonna have to come up and show up and win this game.
Drew, why was Justin Herbert still in there down 28 with 5 minutes left?
A lot of it, I'm sure, was Justin Herbert saying that he was going into the game no matter what they said. But at that point, you pull the plug because there's no benefit, right? Like, what's the best that can happen out of that situation? There really isn't one. You're getting your ass mopped up. Just go to the just get the guy out of the game and we'll move on.
I'm with you. Tennessee Titans 1-2 at Indianapolis Colts 1-1-1.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say about this game. Titans got a big win last week.
That they did.
The Colts. I was meant to say Colts and the Titans.
I mean,
Colts got a huge win. It seems weird. I feel like the running game with Derrick Henry's off a little bit. It just hasn't. I know he had 85 yards in the touchdown last week.
Yeah, 58 receiving yards too.
Yeah, it seems they're. I don't know. Ryan Tannehill just stinks, I think. And if they're not getting 4 to 5 yards of carry offensively, he just becomes a turtle. I'll take the Colts here. I think the more Matt Ryan plays with his offense too, I think the better they're going to get. It hasn't looked great so far. Jonathan Taylor hasn't been great so far. But I expect that to change. And again, if Michael Pittman plays this week, he was out last week. I think he's the X on that offense, and so him being out is definitely hurting what Matt Ryan's trying to do their offensively.
That game Pittman loss was definitely huge for them. 8 catches last week, 72 yards. He's been everything for that outside receiver core. You had Jelani Woods have 2 touchdown catches because basically no one even knew who he was. They were shocked he was on the field. But I'm going to take the Colts in this one as well. It's like Jelani Woods. He's on this team. They got like 14 different tight ends on that squad who play. And maybe we see Shaq Leonard this week.
I hope so. And
calling him Shaq Leonard still kind of freaking weird. But hey, Shaqarius Leonard. Chicago Bears 2-1, led by high-powered offense of Justin Fields, who was god-awful last week, but they're still 2-1. At the New York Giants, who you called a fraud, and they did lose last week. This game, 2-1 teams somehow. Who comes out of this 3-1?
Giants. The Bears are the Giants are a fraud. The Bears are super frauds.
I think I had a.
I'm not even going to give analysis on this bullshit. Saquon Barkley's look really good. Daniel Jones is handicapped at times. If you look up his stats at home against on the road, he's actually like a 10 times better quarterback on the road. For whatever reason, he goes to the Meadowlands and just can't throw the ball. But Justin Fields is not good, and the Bears' offense is embarrassing. So I will take the Giants. Game sucks.
This is gonna be the game. This is gonna be the best game of the week somehow. Give me the Bears, just because.
I assure you it will not.
Jacksonville Jaguars. Duval rising at the Philadelphia Eagles 3-0. Jacksonville moved to 3-1.
I'll take Philadelphia.
I will also take Philadelphia. I think this game is a huge measuring stick, as we spoke earlier, for Duval and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, you love to play this game if you're a Jags fan. You want to see where your team's at.
100%. You got Sean Hockley, baby Hockley, as a main ref for this game. I mean, Devin Lloyd has been really good on defense. Like we talked about Walker earlier, that defense has been solid. Josh Allen. You're going to need these guys to really get to Jalen Hurts. You're going to have someone spy him, but, man, they are so good. Someone comes out every week and has a really good game for this team. Give me the Eagles, man. New York Jets 1-2. It looks like we will see Zach Milson back finally behind center there after Joe Flacco played pretty damn good over the first part of the season. They're traveling to Pittsburgh to face the Steelers, led by Mitchell Trubisky.
Give me the Steelers.
You're going to take the Steelers?
Yep.
Steelers
First
should win this
back
game.
For Zach Wilson. Even when he plays every week, he's not very good. Give me the Steelers. Mitch Trubisky blows. With all due respect to his parents and mentor folks.
Yeah, great family. We've said that as many times as well. Show. Give me the Jets just for the hell of it. I think they can run the football on this team. The Steelers have shown they can't stop the run. If you run the football down their throat, as the Browns did, as the Patriots did, you beat this team. With Breece Hall and Michael Carter, they need to do it. Let Garrett Wilson feast, and I will take the Jets. And Zach Milson gets his first win. Arizona Cardinals 1-2. What a fraudulent team they are proving to be. It looks like at Carolina Panthers 1-2. Matt Rule, Cliff Kingsbury, Kyler, Baker.
Give me Kyler. I got to be off the Baker train at this point. It's killing me. Again, Baker's been terrible. They got to figure out a way to use Christian McCaffrey successfully. They haven't done that. The offense seems just stuck in concrete at this point. The Cardinals are also a fraudulent team, but I think they're a more athletic, faster team than the Panthers. Give me Kyler Murray and the Cardinals.
Has anyone found DJ Moore?
No, DJ Moore is going to find himself asking for a trade.
DJ Moore is the new Odell Beckham at this point. Absolutely missing. Two running backs in the NFC had 2 100-yard games. Can you name them? One of them's in this game.
Well, Christian McCaffrey had 100 yards last week.
He did. He also had 100 in week 1.
All right.
So there's one of them. Who's the other guy who's had 2 100-yard games this year?
2 100-yard games. Nick Chubb.
Cordarrelle Patterson is the other guy.
Okay.
Which is weird. But yeah, Calf is in this game. If Calf plays well, Man, I ain't even gonna do it. Give me the Cardinals. Patriots 1-2 at Green Bay. Packers 2-1.
Packers.
Brian Hoyer not gonna do it.
Not Patricia.
This is our 425 game with Nance and Romo. Ugh, you wonder why I watch Red Zone all fucking day.
That game, I hope so. That game's gonna suck.
Denver Broncos travel to Allegiant Stadium to face the 0-3 Josh McDaniels, who looks like trash.
Yep.
0-3 Las Vegas Raiders. Derek Carr, 303 last week. Derek Carr is like watching a ride at Cedar Point, man. 1 second last week, I'd see him and I'd be like, oh, man, Derek Carr looks so good. Next second, Derek Carr is the worst quarterback I've ever seen. Can't figure out who he is. Mac Hollins had a hell of a game last week. They apparently picked one guy a week and say, we're just going to throw the football to you. Here you go, fantasy guys. Mac Hollins must have been picked up by Josh McDaniels on his fantasy team to start the week. Who you got in this one?
Yeah, I'll take the Raiders. The Raiders have to get this one.
Raiders get their first dub. All right. Just for argument's sake, give me the Broncos.
An 0-4 Raiders would be rough.
It would be. It absolutely would be. Kansas City Chiefs 2-1 at Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2-1. This game is our Sunday night game. It looks like it will be played in Minneapolis due to Hurricane Ian. Brady didn't look very good last week. They had issues at the end of the football game with the play clock. Pat Mahomes coming off a loss.
I'll take Kansas City. I'll take Kansas City.
2,000 yards on Sunday Night Football with 20 touchdowns and 4 picks. Sunday Night Football alone. Absolutely insane. I will also take Kansas City.
I mean, again, you essentially get ripped at your home field advantage. You have a tough week. You have to fly out. It was supposed to be a home game. I like the Chiefs.
Los Angeles Rams 2-1 at San Francisco 49ers 1-2. This is Monday Night Football.
I'll take the Rams.
Give me the Rams. I don't think we need to go much further. Hey, for all the people who thought Jimmy G would be a savior of some sort, remember that guy was practicing on the side, not actually with the team. So give him a few more games, but he still has maybe a better shot to win this year than they had with Trey Lance. Let's get you into solo mode so we can do some good old Ward's wagers. Hey, you're still, I don't know what the hell it's doing. Screw it. We're going back into this mode.
All right, I got 3 picks this week.
3 picks. Let me pull up this. All right, go ahead with your 3 picks, sir.
I'll start with Detroit -4 at home. Again, covering the spread at a ridiculous clip.
They only hurt you so much.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that they can win this game, and I think they can win it by 7 to 10 points. I'm also going to take the Chiefs -1 on the road in Tampa, and then I'm going to take the Rams +1.5 on the road in San Francisco. So just to recap, Rams +1.5 Monday Night Football, Chiefs -1 in Tampa Sunday Night Football. And then the Lions, I will take -4. And that's, of course, your 1 o'clock game. The Lions play every game at 1 o'clock this year.
I think that changes next year if Dan Campbell sticks to his guns. Stick to what got you there, bud.
Win some games.
I got you going 3-0 this week. I already feel it. I like all those picks. Let's go 3-0. Let's get back on track here for Words Wagers. Hopefully we pick some of these games right. It has been a weird season.
It's been a weird start to pick.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to get off your chest tonight before we get out of here?
I'll do it, man. Have a good weekend. We're doing some pumpkin patching this weekend. So.
Yeah, I was thinking we might go apple picking this weekend.
There you go.
We're doing some
definitely a fall weekend. Yeah, it sounds like it.
Some fall stuff. And I hope all y'all have a great weekend. For Drew, I'm Jeremy. This is the Full Coverage Football Show. Remember, as always, if you live the life you love your life to live. Night, kids. And now we wait for the